and welcome to the Lobcast Podcast, Mixers and Marketing. I'm Stephanie Donaldson, your hostess with the Marketing Mostess, and I'm also the Senior Content Marketing Manager at Lob. I'm thrilled to be here again with my Senior Director of Content, Kim Courvoisier, who's joining me again for a drink as we talk about direct mail. Thanks for hanging out with me, Kim.
Absolutely. You had me at boozy coffee and direct mail.
I know the way to your heart.
Yes.
For those listening, if you want to make this drink at home, here's what you'll need. 1 cup of freshly brewed hot coffee, a tablespoon of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons or 1.5 ounces of Irish whiskey, and some heavy cream that's been whipped if you prefer. So, cheers.
I thought you said 1/3 of a cup of whiskey. No wonder mine's so strong. I kid. But also, if you ever get to San Francisco, which is where I'm based, and you want an amazing Irish coffee, Stephanie, there's a place called the Buena Vista. And it's near Fisherman's Wharf, which is, again, kind of touristy. We don't really go there much when you live in San Francisco, but they make literally the best Irish coffee I've ever had in my lifetime. And I guarantee you won't get out of there with just one.
Oh, well, it has been like a year since I've been to San Francisco, so I think it's time for me to plan another trip.
Agreed. Cheers.
All right. So you were on our last episode, and at that time we had talked about some interesting insights from our marketing friends' perspectives on how they use direct mail. But now it's time to flip the coin, or maybe postcard is more apt for this discussion, and see how consumers feel about getting those direct mail pieces. Kim, can you provide some context about the State of Direct Mail Consumer Insights report?
Yep. So once again, for the State of Direct Mail Consumer Insights, we partnered with our friends over at Compare Media. And this time around, we interviewed nearly 2,000 consumers about their perceptions of direct mail. Basically, what they like, what they don't, how they use it, and a lot more. We then published the results into a comprehensive report, which any of our listeners can download for free at lob.com under resources.
Excellent. All right, let's get into the discussion. So kicking us off is an interesting statistic that 44% of the respondents said that direct mail is the preferred channel or preferred communications channel for brands they do not know. And to me, this makes total sense. I am much more likely to be receptive to a piece of mail from a brand I don't know compared to, let's say, an email. If you get into my inbox without me reaching out first or signing up for anything on your website, I'm immediately marking you as spam. And I know that it hurts my fellow marketers' performance results, but I don't know you, and you don't know me that well yet either. Why are you in my inbox? How did you even get my email address? Whereas my physical information, that's kind of up for grabs. So, Kim, do you agree that something in the mailbox is better than the inbox when a brand is trying to acquire your business?
Yeah, just hearing you say all that was so interesting because I spent a decade, right, in email marketing and as an email marketer. And, that whole analogy we used to give around sending emails like dating, and you actually have to get to know somebody before you just go in with the ask, right? Yeah. So what you're saying bodes really well as far as just wanting to know who's sending you something. If you don't even know them, you're like, hey, who are you? Ooh, this is getting creepy, right? So I'm not a huge fan of this direct mail versus email smackdown, right? So my take is that digital channels are popular for a reason. They're easy to use, they're pretty accessible, and consumers use them, right? We're all on social media, we get email, we do all these things. On the flip side, though, all those digital channels are super competitive, more so by the day. Take a big drink on that. They're expensive. Take another drink. And they often have this law of diminishing returns, right? So at first you're like, oh, this is awesome. It's working. I'm getting response rates. And then the more and more you use it, you're like, oh man, we're getting less and less. And we're having to spend more and more. It's like feeding this beast. So my secret recipe for success is to diversify the channels that you use and have a mix of channels, both digital and physical. And so digital mail plays an important role in this mix because, again, it's physical. You can touch it. You can hang it on your fridge. You can toss that postcard in your purse and bring it into the store location. It's tangible. It's real. And 85% of the consumers that participated in this report told us that they read their direct mail immediately or on the same day they bring it inside. That kind of blew my mind, right? Yeah. But it's true. You go through your mail, you're reading it on the way up the stairs, whatever that is. And then 62% reported that they take action on it. So that's real.
Oh no, definitely. I do the mail shuffle as I'm coming back from my mailbox being like, that's a bill. I don't want to look at you yet, but like this postcard for $10 off, I'll take advantage of that.
Right? It's jury duty. Put it back in the mailbox. No.
Right. But I do, that is a fair take on the smackdown between channels, because I do agree that all marketing channels have their pros and cons based on your campaign goals, your budget, your targeting. And as marketers, we all have to live by the idea of sending the right message at the right time and on the right channel. So like if I were to build a customer persona off of myself, I'd say the right channels for acquisition are paid social. Like I don't even want to know how much I've spent on getting targeted Instagram ads. I mean,
I'll take
come
a
get me
sip on that.
apparently. Sponsored content, and then direct mail. But to my persona, my inbox is mine. Spam is delicious in real life, but I don't want it in my email. But I do think that opens the door to the conversation of spam or junk marketing. And I think there's still that misconception that direct mail equals junk mail, but that's just not true with today's technology and modern marketing best practices. And I think this speaks perfectly to a point that we're making in the marketing world. Direct mail does not always equal junk mail. And I think we're at that turning point where people aren't worried about what's in their mailbox, but they are worried about what's made its way to their email. So Kim, what are your top tips for ensuring that direct mail isn't classified as junk mail?
Oof. Right? That's a big deal, right? About intelligent direct mail. It's the exact opposite of junk mail. Because let's face it, like you're saying about email, like junk mail is that unsolicited, unwanted, it's bulk and it's mass and it's not like for you. It's just like everybody, and you're treating everybody the same. And there's nothing special about that. And we live in such a mass world of like everything being so generic that it feels nice when something's actually special and it stands out and it's for you. And so that kind of mass bulk mail serves a purpose, let's be fair.
Mm-hmm.
But some of it can actually really come out as a physical form of email spam. But intelligent direct mail, on the other hand, it's all those things that junk isn't. It's targeted, it's personalized, it's customized, it's data driven. Fathom the thought of that, right? It's trackable, actionable. It has flat rate pricing. So as a marketer, that's like music to my ears. I can actually just go, oh, it costs the same no matter how much I send. So I can really model it out. And here's a beautiful thing too. I don't have to send 100,000 mail pieces to get a price break. And so I can be really targeted about who I send my direct mail to. So I don't have to have wastage. And I can send the right piece to the right person at the right time because I know I want to send it to this segment of high value customers. And I'm going to get some banging ROI off of that. That's great, right? So it adds value to that customer journey. It gives you that higher ROI. It's eco-conscious because we're not just spraying and praying. And we now offer carbon neutral direct mail, which is a total game changer. And using intelligent mail in this way, it really empowers your brand to expand your awareness, boost those response rates, increase the ROI, and all the beautiful things that you want it to do. And that's not junk in my eyes.
No, definitely. I mean, like for me personally, I think it all comes down to targeting and relevance. How relevant is this marketing message to me? But I do also think you kind of painted that picture of being generic and kind of that spray and pray marketing, because sometimes by widening your reach based on the demographics you're targeting, it can be a very relevant message. Like I got a mailer the other day from a landscaping company that I've never done business with, but I have a house. They sent me a promo with seasonal offers. My house has a yard, and I'm always interested in saving money. So it's almost because it is generic enough that it's still relevant to me.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there's always a place for that, right? And, just like anything, email started out really mass and it worked. But then there are reasons why you do it more segmented, or there's reasons why you go after specific cohorts. So definitely not here to say you should never do big mailings or mass mailings, but each has its own place. But when you only do mass, that's where it can be perceived as junk.
No, and then I think there's also like the flip side of it too, because like again, same thing. Like I've gotten mailers from companies that I've never done business with that are, I can tell exactly what kind of list they probably bought me off of.
Yeah.
Because it's for like children's clothing. I'm of the right gender, I'm of the right age. It should be relevant, but unfortunately in my instance, it is not. And so it's just not targeted enough to be relevant to me as an individual. And I think mailers like that is where you kind of almost have to take that extra step. So each brand needs to look at like, is this applicable to a wider audience? Should we miss the mark, or should we miss the boat on like having the wrong person at the house or somebody else's home that could take advantage of it? And then just making sure also that, yeah, you're really looking at the data that you're using to craft that message.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I do definitely like your point about making sure that, your marketing mail isn't labeled as junk by crafting a really great offer. Because I think outside of the relevance, the offer can make or break your conversions, which leads us very nicely to our next topic of direct mail marketing offers. So referencing our report, it tells us that 62% of consumers report they took action on a direct mail piece due to an offer or promotion, and 54% indicated that they were already interested in the brand, product, or service. Like anything in marketing, from the consumer's perspective, the juice has to be worth the squeeze. And in our world, we cannot gate content that isn't of high value, just as we can't expect people to give us their contact information for nothing. So Kim, what kind of offers typically catch your attention?
I mean, you've hit the nail on the head for me too. Like most people, like offers for a product or service that I've bought before or I'm thinking about buying are usually the first to capture my attention. Let's say, I buy perfume from Glossier and it's about to run out, and all of a sudden I get an offer for it. I'm like, yeah, ching, that like I'm primed for that purchase. I'm ready. Um, and many people also share offers with their family and friends. Actually, our study found that over 50% do. So don't discount, so to speak, the virality of direct marketing and direct mail marketing, because I think a lot of people don't even consider that, right? It's not like an email, like people think, oh yeah, they're going to forward the email, but a lot of people will take that postcard and share that. So it's really interesting.
No, definitely. And to any marketer out there that's listening to this podcast, if you want to market to me, I am a sucker for an offer that includes a discount code with free shipping. Like I have a coffee subscription and like we'll be out of coffee. I am going to wait until they send me an email offering free shipping or I'm not buying. And it's like
Oh my God.
$5, but I am waiting.
I'm never out of coffee. I got to make my Irish coffee.
I also want to take a quick second and kind of talk about the mail format or form factor and how that can impact engagement and conversions. So we know that we send targeted messages and a great offer, but how much does the format come into play? Kim, would you rather get a postcard or a letter, no matter the brand or the offer? Or do you think that a certain format should be matched based on the marketing campaign's CTA or goals?
That is a great question. And I happen to fit like perfectly into the demographic data for my age range and the state of direct mail consumer insights, in that I like postcards. I want the message to be short, scannable, and to the point. I'm a busy full-time working single mom, and so I have no spare time. I'm 1,000 miles an hour with my hair on fire all the time. I have no spare time. So, the caveat to that is I would say if something's like health related or financial, such as a bank statement, I don't want my bank statement on a postcard, right? Like,
why not?
I mean, I don't need anyone to see how much I just paid for Taylor Swift tickets, but so you have to use common sense there, right? I'd still want that in a letter or a closed envelope. So that's common sense. But, most often I want things just short and to the point. So I love a good postcard moment.
No, definitely. I'd say I agree. If something's arriving from someone I'm expecting mail from, like my bank or my doctor's office, I want my privacy. Now, I don't want people knowing how often I'm going and getting blood drawn, but if the new restaurant in our neighborhood is sending me a coupon, I want a postcard so I can post that up on my fridge so my husband and I remember to actually go use it before it expires. I think a minute or two ago, you did bring up a really good point about mail, the virality of it and how people share it. Because I think our report did show that, 51% of consumers sometimes or often share direct mail with friends or family. Sharing is caring after all. So Kim, what kind of mail do you share with your family or friends?
Oh my gosh. Again, I'm like so easy. I'll say offers. Honestly, those Bath and Body Works are some of my favorites. I always will call my mom and tell her when those jumbo candles are on sale. So offers are just like the most shareable thing. Like you said earlier, everyone loves a deal. And so being able to like, I think sharing is caring in so many ways, double entendre here, that like being able to like help somebody out and make them aware of something like that goes a long way. It's how we express friendships and family and all those things. So offers are golden.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I buy another candle for our house, my husband's going to make me sleep on a bed made of them. I mean, I'm just kidding. Discounts on candles really are the best. Like, I think back to some of the mail that I've shared, and it's also around stuff for the home. Like, I recently got a mailer for a food delivery service, and I shared that with a friend who'd been complaining about eating the same 3 recipes over and over again. So the mailer went to her. So hopefully she took advantage of it and is eating different recipes. But then that direct-to-consumer brand also got a new customer based on mail that was sent to me, but I didn't end up using it. So again, like, it just goes to point that, like, even if your piece doesn't make it to the right end consumer, it's going to make it to someone.
Pay it forward.
Definitely. All right. So before we take a closer look at the data around what people share, referencing the state of direct mail consumer insights again, our research found that of the 78% of people who reported sharing direct mail with friends and family, 13% shared discounts and promotions, and 32% shared coupons. Hint, hint, listeners, about sending out coupons. I do think, the only downside to mail being shared is the tracking aspect. I mean, we have to talk about it, especially if you're using something like dynamic QR codes or personalized URLs that are tied back to consumer data. But I do also think that can easily be resolved by doing some testing, matchback analysis, and working really closely with your marketing operations or your MarTech team.
And they should listen to episode 1 of our podcast because we talked a little bit about that.
Yes, they should. I mean, they should listen to it anyway.
I mean, yes, of course.
So what do you think is the most important thing marketers should keep in mind about consumers when creating their direct mail marketing strategy for 2023?
Well, I'd say grab some shades. I should trade these in and get on some sunglasses because the future is very bright indeed, right? Used strategically, direct mail can be used throughout the buyer and customer journey to acquire, retain, and even reactivate customers who've churned. And direct mail plays really nicely with your other marketing channels, and it's personable, trackable, scalable. So it's a no-brainer whether or not you should use it.
I mean, intelligent direct mail is a no-brainer for our smart marketing friends.
I see what you did there.
I know, right? I'm all about that alliteration and puns. So to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us for Drinks and a Chat about direct mail. If you do want your own copy of the State of Direct Mail Consumer Insights Edition, please visit lobdemo.co/2022 consumers. That's lobdemo.co/2022 consumers. And our next Lobcast podcast episode will be about marketing and mail, both direct and electronic. Bust out some spices for your mulled wine as we talk all things marketing mail.
Yum.
As always, you can browse our library of episodes over at lobdemo.co/lobcast. And thanks for listening. And that's all, folks.